Everyday nursery rhymes. The last one will blow your mind. Number 1. Rockabye Baby has the darkest origin of all. It was inspired by Native American mothers who would hang birch bark cradles from tree branches so the wind would naturally rock their babies to sleep. But English colonists who witnessed this were horrified and created the rhyme as propaganda to make Native Americans look like bad parents. The when the bough breaks, the cradle will fall. Ending was added deliberately to suggest that indigenous child-rearing practices were dangerous and deadly, turning an innocent lullaby into colonial-era racist propaganda that we still sing to babies today without knowing we're repeating 400-year-old hate speech. Number 2. Do you know the Muffin Man? Sounds like an innocent question about a baker, but it's actually about a serial killer who lived on Drury Lane in the 16th century London. The Muffin Man was allegedly a baker who would lure children to his shop with free muffins and pastries, then murder them and dispose of their bodies. The rhyme was created by parents as a warning to teach children never to follow strangers offering sweets, making it one of history's earliest stranger danger lessons disguised as a catchy song. Before I say the last one, make sure you hit that follow button to support the channel. Number 3. Humpty Dumpty was never actually about an egg. It was a coded reference to King Richard III of England, who was described as hunchbacked and fell from power during the Battle of Bosworth Field in 1485. All the king's horses and all the king's men literally tried to save him during the battle but failed, and his body was so brutally dismembered after death that he couldn't be put together again. Meaning children have been singing about a real king's violent death and mutilation for over 500 years while thinking it's just a clumsy egg. Retry Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.
Did you know that in 47 episodes, Scooby obeys Daphne without getting anything, but with Shaggy he always negotiates first? Seems like a funny detail until you notice the pattern. In reality, Daphne never asks, she only orders, and everyone obeys instantly. Fred drives wherever she points. Velma investigates what she commands. Scooby executes without question. Now observe who decides all the destinations. They never vote, never discuss routes. It's always Daphne who chooses. When she's captured, everyone stops everything to rescue her immediately. When Shaggy or Fred are captured, let's finish investigating first. Shaggy eats compulsively in almost every scene. In reality, the three are orphans. No family, no money, no options. In Season 2, archived documents from the Blake family appear. Guardianship contracts. Daphne's multi-millionaire family legally acquired them when they were children. Mystery Incorporated was never a group of friends. It's a rich teenager keeping 3 traumatized humans and a multi-million-dollar canine genetic experiment as her personal entertainment. They know it, and they have no other possible life. Do you think Shaggy eats from hunger or because it's the only thing he can control? Did you unveiling macabre mysteries from Disney classics? It took me 33 years to realize Belle died in the forest. And the Beast's castle? It's the hospital where she's dying. The castle has infinite hallways. It's not magic. They're the corridors of Villeneuve Hospital. Belle wanders between ICU, radiology, and emergency. Each castle room is a different hospital wing. Mrs. Potts serving tea isn't hospitality. It's Nurse Potts administering medication through Belle's IV. Be Our Guest isn't a musical number. It's the medical staff trying to stimulate Belle's brain activity. Cogsworth obsessively tracks time. He's not a butler. He's the heart monitor. Each tick-tock is a heartbeat. His urgency? Belle is losing cardiac rhythm. Actually, the Beast reveals everything. The Beast wears a red cape, exactly like a medical coat. His rage attacks are painful procedures. Belle fears him because brains in coma feel pain but don't understand the source. Belle wakes up scared multiple times in the film. They're not nightmares. They're resuscitation attempts. Every time she sleeps is cardiac arrest. Every time she wakes is the defibrillator bringing her back. But the most disturbing part? The wilting rose isn't counting a curse. It's counting oxygen saturation dropping. 1 petal per day. Exactly like a vital signs chart in progressive deterioration. Maurice never convinced anyone about the castle because there is no castle. He's in the room next door. Gaston visiting obsessively? He was the suitor Belle rejected before the accident. Belle waking the Beast with a kiss? It's her coming out of coma with permanent brain damage. In love with the doctor she never really knew. Can you ever watch Beauty and the Beast the same way again?
I ain't good enough, but it's not love it. No, I ain't good enough.
Wouldn't this be a hell of a theory?
Both of the world wars were really just to erase the old world.
Hear him out, it makes sense.
There was an entire narrative scripted around who the bad guys were, who the allies are, and it was really meant to just destroy all of these beautiful cities. They took out all of the bells. If you guys haven't looked into why there would be bells in public spaces,
no more bells.
And the healing properties and the harmonious properties that these churches and
I haven't seen a bell in years.
Was built in. Okay, it's sacred geometry, and it's not unrealistic that they started 2 world wars and put, at the time, our best men in every single country lined up across each other because they wanted to take out the most brave, and quote-unquote prestigious men for every country.
Now this is one I've speculated on for some years. I'm by heritage a Jew. I feel like there's a lot more evidence that the narrative was not what they say the narrative was.
Discovered something terrifying about Dumbo that Disney hid for 80 years. His mother always knew her son was dead. At minute 3:42, when Dumbo falls from the train, Mrs. Jumbo screams 13 times, the same number of funeral bells in Victorian burials. In reality, Baby Mine isn't a lullaby, it's a farewell requiem. Listen again. She sings, "Rest your head close to my heart," exactly 7 times, death passage ritual in Celtic traditions. The most disturbing evidence is in the 4 pink elephants. In 1940s Disney symbolism, pink elephants represented death hallucinations from head trauma. Notice, after this scene, Dumbo wakes in a tree. Trees are limbo between heaven and earth in 89 different mythologies. Timothy whispers, "You flew," but in reality he's saying, "You're through." The crows don't teach Dumbo to fly. They prepare him to cross over. The feather they give has 3 black stripes, Egyptian symbol of Anubis, guide of the dead. In the climax, when Dumbo flies over the burning circus, he's reliving the fire that killed 17 elephants in Hartford in 1944. Disney created Dumbo as tribute. The final proof? Dumbo never grows. The movie ends with him the same size, because the dead don't age.
Realize that Stephen King dropped 3 clues hinting that Andy is the ultimate one to defeat Pennywise. The Shawshank Redemption and It actually exist in the same universe. All of Stephen King's works share one universe, and they all take place in his home state of Maine. Looking at the movies adapted from his novels by location and timeline, you'll realize Andy didn't just go to prison, he went somewhere safe. Andy went in 1947 and escaped in 1965. While he was chiseling through the wall in his cell, nearby in Derry, Pennywise was busy eating kids. A writer named Jack arrived at the Overlook Hotel, and a bit further in Chamberlain, a girl named Carrie was born, who would 18 years later turn prom night into a bloodbath. Meanwhile, in Castle Rock, the town next to the prison, the rabid dogs from Cujo were feasting on people, and the evil spirit from the dark half was committing serial murders. The only somewhat wholesome story in this town was the adventure of 4 kids hunting for a body in Stand By Me. No wonder in Shawshank Redemption, Red, a Castle Rock resident, went to prison at a young age. Could it be that he was hiding from disasters? And Andy was lucky not to run into Pennywise in the sewers on that rainy night. Seeing it this way, Red and Andy heading abroad right after getting out far away from this cursed land was undoubtedly the smartest choice. Few realize
Fairy tales that are based on true stories. The last one will blow your mind. Number 1. Sleeping Beauty was inspired by a real Italian noblewoman who fell into a mysterious coma that lasted for months. In the 1600s, a young woman named Talia fell into a death-like sleep after pricking her finger on a poisoned spindle during a political assassination attempt. She remained unconscious for nearly a year, while her family kept her body in a glass coffin, hoping she would wake up. When she finally recovered, people believed it was a miracle, and the story spread across Europe, becoming the Sleeping Beauty fairy tale. Number 2. Hansel and Gretel came from real stories of child abandonment during medieval famines when parents literally left kids in forests to survive on their own. During severe food shortages, desperate families would abandon their youngest children in the woods because they couldn't feed them. Some children survived by finding abandoned houses or kind strangers, while others died. The Witch and Gingerbread House were added to make the horror story more palatable for children, but families really did abandon kids during famines throughout European history. Number 3. Cinderella was based on a real ancient Greek slave girl named Rhodopis, who married the Pharaoh of Egypt. Around 500 BC, an eagle stole one of her golden sandals while she was bathing and dropped it in the pharaoh's lap. The pharaoh was so charmed by the tiny, beautiful shoe that he searched the kingdom for its owner. When he found Rhodopis, he was captivated by her beauty and married her, making a Greek slave into Egyptian royalty. The glass slipper and fairy godmother were added centuries later, but the rags to riches shoe story really happened.
Know that one of America's biggest record labels secretly worked with the CIA to control your mind through music. From 1982 to 1987, Arista Records participated in a classified program called Project Soundtrack. They embedded subliminal messages in hit songs at frequencies below 18 Hz, completely undetectable to conscious hearing. Studio engineers modified their mixing boards with special frequency modulators provided by government agents. Songs like Whitney Houston's I Wanna Dance With Somebody contained messages promoting consumerism and patriotism. The goal was influencing American behavior during the height of the Cold War. In 2015, an audio engineer discovered the original CIA equipment still installed in Arista's abandoned studios. The classified documents revealed the shocking scope of the operation. Over 40 million Americans were unknowingly exposed to these psychological manipulations through radio and television. Today, class action lawsuits are still fighting for compensation from victims of this mind control experiment. Your favorite 80s hits weren't just entertainment, they were weapons of mass persuasion.
Origins of children's shows you never knew. The last one will blow your mind. Number 1. Sesame Street was originally created as a psychological experiment to see if television could be used to educate underprivileged children who couldn't afford preschool. The show's format was deliberately designed using advertising techniques to sell learning to kids the same way commercials sold products, essentially turning education into a form of mental conditioning that many child psychologists warned could be manipulative. Number 2, the Teletubbies were inspired by a disturbing concept. The creator wanted to show what the world would look like if nuclear war wiped out civilization and only innocent, childlike beings remained. The barren landscape, the mysterious voice trumpets emerging from the ground, and the babies' faces appearing in the sun were meant to represent a post-apocalyptic world where simple creatures live among the technological remnants of destroyed humanity. Before I say the last one, make sure you hit that follow button to support the channel. Number 3. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood had a hidden dark purpose that even parents didn't realize. Fred Rogers was actually a trained child psychologist who designed every episode to identify and help children suffering from abuse, neglect, or trauma at home. His gentle questions, the way he spoke directly to the camera, and his emphasis on feelings were therapeutic techniques meant to reach kids whose parents might be hurting them, and PBS received thousands of letters from children revealing abuse after watching his show, making it one of the largest unintentional child welfare operations in television history.
Watching Despicable Me and realized something disturbing about Gru. Wait for it. There's a scene where his entire family tree is shown, and if you look closely, one of his ancestors isn't normal. It's a werewolf. At first, it seems like a joke. But later, when Gru steals the moon, actual werewolves appear in the world, which means they do exist in this universe. And that family tree werewolf wasn't a random joke, but an actual part of Gru's bloodline. Then why doesn't Gru transform under the full moon? That's because he was only half werewolf. And suddenly, it all makes sense. His superhuman strength. Punching a shark with a single hit, dodging heat-seeking missiles like they're nothing. It all comes from his werewolf bloodline, which means Gru might secretly be the most dangerous character in animation history. I was watching
Somebody told you that 101 Dalmatians is based on 101 dead children in London in the year 1957. The evidence is horrifying. In 1957, exactly 101 children vanished in London. The case was never resolved. Disney launched the movie in 1961. Precisely 3 years later, actually, Dalmatians was the code word used by police. The spots weren't spots. They were identification marks on the victims. Notice how Cruella is obsessed with counting. 99, no, 100, 101. She's not counting dogs, she's doing inventory. Pongo and Perdita aren't pet owners, they're undercover investigators. That's why they can mobilize the entire city through the Twilight Bark. That was real. It was a clandestine informant network in Suffolk. The most disturbing part, the name DeVille wasn't chosen randomly. It was the real trafficker's nickname. Disney only changed one letter. Actually, making a coat was never about a coat. It was the euphemism used in police documents for extraction. The isolated farm in Suffolk exists. It was demolished in 1962. Missing children don't bark. We watched Disney censor London's worst case by turning victims into cute puppies.
Are fake. The last one will blow your mind. Number 1. In 1985, a man named Michael Larson figured out the pattern on the TV show Press Your Luck and won over $110,000, bankrupting the game temporarily before producers realized he'd beaten the system. Number 2. In 1980, scientists accidentally discovered the hole in the ozone layer over Antarctica and thought their instruments were broken because they didn't believe pollution could damage the planet that fast. Number 3. The first ever cell phone call cost nearly $4 a minute, and the phone itself weighed 2.5 pounds. Number 4. In 1986, the Chernobyl nuclear disaster released more radiation than the Hiroshima bomb, and parts of the exclusion zone are still uninhabitable 40 years later. Number 5. In 1981, IBM's executives said people will never need a computer in their home. That same year, they released the first IBM PC. Number 6. In 1983, the world came seconds away from nuclear war when a Soviet officer named Stanislav Petrov ignored a false missile warning and refused to launch a counterattack. Number 7. In 1984, an American teacher named Krista McAuliffe was chosen to be the first civilian in space, but she tragically died in the Challenger explosion 2 years later. Number 8. And in 1989, the Berlin Wall, a symbol of the Cold War, was torn down live on television, ending one of the most divided eras in modern history.
Ancestors could basically do that. Our primate cousins still have this superpower. A chimpanzee can grip things with about 2 times the force of the strongest human athlete, and that's a small chimp. The big ones are even stronger. Orangutans can support their entire body weight with just 2 fingers. That's like you hanging from a skyscraper ledge by your pinky and ring finger while eating a sandwich with your other hand. We traded our super grip for something else, fine motor control. Instead of being able to crush coconuts with our bare hands, we got really good at writing tweets and playing video games. Our hands changed shape over time. We developed shorter fingers and a longer thumb. This gave us the ability to do precise movements, like threading a needle or performing surgery. This upgrade came with a downgrade. Our muscles got weaker, our tendons got less efficient at gripping. It's like trading in your monster truck for a Tesla. Sure, the Tesla is more sophisticated, but good luck climbing over a pile of crushed cars with it. If you gave a chimpanzee a handshake, they could crush every bone in your hand without even trying. They can hang from trees for hours without getting tired. Meanwhile, most of us can't do a single pull-up without sounding like we're trying to give birth. This change happened when we started walking on 2 legs. We didn't need super strong hands anymore because we weren't swinging through trees. Instead, we needed hands that could make tools and weapons. Number 8. The fatigue resistor. Imagine being able to run for hours without getting tired. Not like a marathon runner who's trained for years, just naturally being able to keep going and going, like some kind of human Energizer bunny. That was just a normal Tuesday for our ancestors. Scientists call it persistence hunting. Our ancestors would pick a target animal and just follow it, not chase it, just walk after it at a steady pace. The animal would sprint away, rest, sprint away again, rest. But our ancestors just kept coming, like some kind of prehistoric Terminator. Eventually, after hours of this, the animal would collapse from heat exhaustion. Meanwhile, our ancestor would barely be breaking a sweat. Humans used to have this incredible ability to resist fatigue. We were basically built for endurance, not speed. We're the only primates that can effectively cool ourselves through sweating. We've got these long legs perfect for covering distance, and our bodies were super efficient at using energy. Over time, as we stopped needing to chase down our dinner, we lost a lot of this ability. Our muscles changed to favor quick bursts of energy instead of long-term endurance. Our metabolism adapted to store more fat instead of burning it efficiently. Even our brains changed. They started sending "I'm tired" signals much earlier than they used to. Scientists studying modern hunter-gatherer tribes have found some crazy examples of this lost ability. There's this tribe in Mexico called the Tarahumara. These guys can run over 200 miles in one go, not because they're super that ancient fatigue resistance. So next time you're getting winded climbing a flight of stairs, just remember, your great-great-great-great-grandparents could probably run down a deer without breaking a sweat. Number 7. Unbreakable bones. Imagine falling down the stairs and just getting up like nothing happened. No broken bones, no hospital visit, just a mild inconvenience. That's exactly what some of our primate cousins can do. These guys have bones so dense they make our skeletons look like they are made of paper straws. Humans used to have much denser bones too. Scientists found this out by studying ancient human bones. Our ancestors had bones about 20% denser than ours. That's like the difference between falling onto concrete versus falling onto memory foam. There are some people alive today who have what scientists call unbreakable bones. These people have a mutation in something called the Pt.5 gene. One family in Connecticut has this mutation. They've been in car crashes, fallen off horses, and been hit by trucks, but they've never broken a single bone. Their bones are so dense that they sink in water like rocks. Most people float in water, but these folks drop like anchors. But there's a reason we don't all have super dense bones. Having dense bones comes with some downsides. First off, they're heavy. That's like doing everything with a weighted vest on. Our ancestors needed to be lighter and faster to survive. They traded bone density for speed and agility. It's like choosing between being a tank or a sports car. Scientists are studying these unbreakable people to help others. They're hoping to develop treatments for conditions like osteoporosis. Some scientists think we might be able to turn on these dense bone genes in regular people. Number 6. The all-terrain tires. Imagine buying a Ferrari and then wrapping it in bubble wrap. That's basically what we're doing to our feet with modern shoes. Our ancestors had feet that were like the world's most advanced all-terrain tires. These natural treads could handle everything from sharp rocks to scorching sand. Their feet weren't just tough. They were smart. Every step sent detailed information to their brains about the ground beneath them. It's like having a supercomputer in your soul. Modern shoes are like putting that supercomputer in airplane mode. Your feet have over 200,000 nerve endings. and we're basically covering them all up with a blindfold. Our ancestors' feet were actually wider than ours. Modern shoes have literally squeezed our feet into a new shape. It's like if aliens gave everyone tiny helmets and 1,000 years later, humans just had cone heads. Scientists studying indigenous tribes who still go barefoot found their feet are actually wider at the toes than at the heel. Meanwhile, our feet look like bananas, narrow at both ends. Your great-great-great-great-grandparents could have done parkour on a rocky beach barefoot while carrying a dead antelope.
Nature Mandela effects. Number one, the North Star. It's the brightest star in the sky. It always points north. It's positioned directly above Earth's northern axis. It's fixed in the sky and all stars circle around it. Have you heard this? Now, it's not the brightest star in the sky. It's actually the 48th brightest star in the sky. Now, did that change? The brightest star in the sky is actually Sirius. It is not the North Star. It is the 48th or the 49th brightest star in our sky as of today. Number two, Macintosh apples. Now, how is Macintosh spelled? Is it spelled with an A or without an A? Oh, it is actually spelled without an A now. Yes, Macintosh apples, which Macintosh the computers and Apple named their computers after, it no longer has an A. Macintosh has an A. The apples no longer have an A. Even though there's residue of coupons with the A, we can clearly see it here. Apparently, right now, if you look it up, there is no A in Macintosh Apple. And I just want to state the inventor of the Macintosh Apple was John Macintosh, a Canadian farmer with an A. You can see it right here. Three, rainbows. We all seen rainbows. We've all seen pictures of rainbows. The beautiful thing that happens after a misty rain. Do you know there are 4 other actual variations of this and is actually documented? There is a moon bow. There is a sun bow. There is a fog bow. There is a snow bow. This was actually documented 1,000 years ago. Aristotle actually wrote about this. I've never heard of it. This may be my bad education, or this didn't exist in my timeline. Either way, now there are 5 different bows. Number 4, which picture of the moon is correct? This one or that one? Well, it's actually that one now because the moon has rust on it. Yes, the moon has been rusting for over 1 billion years. Even though old school renderings of the moon have it all gray, actually not that anymore. It actually has some orangish hue, some rust hue in it. This is a hematite rock, which is rust, which needs oxygen and water. The moon has no atmosphere. One theory is it gets blown from Earth. That's a ridiculous theory. That is not real. The scientists do not know why this is happening. It's been happening for 1 billion years. That means, why were we getting gray renderings of the moon this whole time when it actually has this orangish hue to it? The moon has been rusting for 1 billion years. Number 5, sugar. Remember being told that sugar gives you energy? Sugar makes you hyper? Don't eat that much sugar before bed? Oh, guess what? Sugar does not make you hyper anymore in this timeline. Yep, there was a study in 1995, and they did an experiment with sugar and placebos, and what they found, that sugar doesn't get you hyper. Sugar doesn't give you energy. It's no better than bread. It all depends on the speed that we digest sugar. This is called the glycemic index. Sugar actually only has an index of 65. But you know what's 100%? White bread. White bread gives you a bigger sugar high and a bigger rush than actual sugar. This is a fact. It has a glycemic index of 100 and sugar has a glycemic index of 65. It's a
foods that are technically not what you think. The last one will blow your mind. Number 1. Honey never spoils because bees add glucose oxidase, an enzyme that breaks down into hydrogen peroxide, making it naturally antibacterial. Archaeologists have found 3,000-year-old honey in Egyptian tombs that's still perfectly edible. The low water content and acidic pH create an environment where bacteria simply cannot survive. Honey also contains antioxidants and has been used medicinally for wound healing throughout history. Number 2. Bananas are technically berries, but strawberries aren't. Botanically, berries must have seeds inside their flesh from a single flower with 1 ovary. Bananas qualify perfectly, but strawberries have seeds on the outside and develop from multiple parts of the flower. Raspberries and blackberries aren't berries either. They're aggregate fruits. Meanwhile, grapes, tomatoes, and eggplants are all technically berries. Number 3. Vanilla flavoring often comes from beaver anal glands. The FDA-approved natural vanilla flavor called castoreum is extracted from beavers' castor sacs near their tails. It's used in ice cream, perfumes, baked goods, and natural flavoring. Beavers use this secretion to mark territory, but humans discovered it smells like vanilla and tastes even better. One beaver produces about 2 to 4 ounces per year, making it more expensive than silver by